Once you have your ribbons done and colored and we have the black part filled in, then the next step is to do the drapery that we're going to do in charcoal when we're done. But charcoal smears really easily, and so we're going to sketch it out with a regular pencil to start with. And so we want to get to something almost to this point here, maybe even a little less. But you want to look at your picture, the photograph that we have, and where the ribbon is in the back, that's going to be our top line that we started with in our sketch. And where it starts to fall over the table here, that's the second line. So we kind of know where to go to. So I can see here, in which you're going to be looking at a photo, but this is my drawing. I can see here it comes off the circle. So I'm just going to simply do the same thing. I know it's a little bit above that line in the back, and I'm coming off the circle, and it's coming all the way off the page. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come off the page. Next, I'm going to start here just slightly above the line, and it's coming down to the line, and then it's coming back this direction, and then it makes its way to here. Now, I'm pressing down hard so that you can see on the screen. However, you want to do this somewhat softly so that it doesn't mess up where we're going in with our charcoal. I can see here that it's making this shape here. But right here, we see that it's starting to curve down. And that's right here where this line is. It's starting to curve down, and then it comes up to this line here and at somewhat like a V shape. You'll notice that a lot of times with drapery, it makes these V shapes and A shapes. So it kind of drapes up like a V and down like an A. And I can see that it's curving up here, and then it comes down. Then it comes back up. And then I'm going to stop it right here because that's where that line is. You can see that it's making this shape here. Now, you're just going to simply look at your photo that you have, and you're going to try to mimic what I'm doing here. We're just putting in lines coming from here and then coming down and then up. And I'm doing this very quickly. It might take you quite a bit longer. But I'm not putting too much focus into this. But we need to indicate where our darks are going to be before we go in with our charcoal while we can still erase. And so I'm just turning it on its side and putting in some of these darks, trying to make it look right before I get my charcoal pencil out. So we also want to indicate where the shadow is going to be. And typically a shadow, would just go like this if it was on a flat table, and it would just come straight out. But since it's on a cloth, you can see in the photo that it comes up, and then it has a highlight here, and then it comes down, and then it streaks out. Like so. The darkest point's going to be right here underneath the sphere. And then it has a wrinkle that is coming up, and then it comes down once it gets here to this point. And I've kind of messed up the angle on this, but I'm just going to run with it for now. This V is coming up and then down, and we kind of get this shape here. Okay, so this is what we're trying to lay in. We're trying to lay in just the overall shapes. We want to know what it's going to look like. Now, obviously, this hard line that's coming across here isn't going to exist in the end. These lines are just simply to show us how much space it is here, and also the lines in the back. And the lines in the back, you'll notice in your photo, aren't flat. They're not a flat line. If it was a flat table, it might have just a flat line in the back, but we're working on drapery, which is actually, it's a difficult skill to learn, and it looks really hard, and it's a little bit more advanced, but honestly, it's really easy to fake it. No one knows what that drapery is supposed to look like. As long as you have lights and darks and these hard V shapes and A shapes, a couple bumps in the back, no one's gonna know where you've messed up. And so that's what's beautiful about drapery is when you're doing a portrait of a face, everyone knows what a face is supposed to look like, but most people don't know what your drapery looks like in your photo. So as long as you get close, it's going to wind up looking like the idea of it's going to look right. The illusion of it's still going to look like drapery. The eye will fill in, the imagination will fill in the rest, as long as we have midtones. Now, I'll talk more about this once we get to the charcoal, but it's also going to be really important that we have really dark darks and then midtones and then whites. And so it's not all just one value. It's not all one pressure. Okay, that's going to get us to the next step. Next time, I'm going to talk to you about how to use charcoal, how not to smear it all over the place.